Good day, everyone. First of all, thank you for being here. I have my presentation prepared in English, but if you prefer, I can speak in Spanish if you understand it better. So if you want me to speak in Spanish, please let me know, or I will continue in English. So, okay, I will continue in English then. So I'm here to talk to you about Bondalti and energy transition. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of Bondalti, and then I will talk about the importance of energy in the chemical industry. I will talk to you about the new regulations that are put in place and that are going to be put in place in the near future for the regulatory package for the European Union. And then we are going to talk about a little bit of the challenges the industry has on these subjects. So what is Bondalti? Bondalti is a chemical company. We act in organic and inorganic-based chemicals with production of chloralkali, where we are the second largest producer in the Iberian Peninsula, and we are also one of the main players of aniline production in the world. This is purely a chemical industry company. We also have a new industrial activity in water treatment systems, where we do project and engineering and maintenance services through two companies, independent companies named Encrot and IEMA. We welcome you to visit our stand here on Expoquimia, if you want to know a little bit more about our companies and our products. We are mainly an Iberian company. We have plants in Portugal and Spain, and we have also offices around the Iberian Peninsula and even Luanda in Angola. We have a presence, although we sell our products and our services throughout the world. So we are actually a worldwide company with base in Iberian Peninsula. We work on organic and inorganic-based chemicals. This is a big industrial area where energy is very important. So we are very concerned about climate neutrality, and we have a plan to become climate neutral by 2030. Our main tackle right now is to be able to buy and use 100% of renewable electricity and fuels. So this is the main area of concern, and this is why we are talking about in this presentation, why we are talking about energy in this presentation. But also we are working to reduce the carbon footprints of our products. And we are doing it either by trying to consume green ammonia or green hydrogen and trying to not only turn our products more green, but also to position ourselves as a hydrogen producer worldwide. Why are we talking about energy? We are on the chemical industry. The chemical industry is a very energy-intensive sector from all the European Union consumption of energy. And we are talking about not only electricity, but also fossil fuels. The industry represents almost 25% of the energy consumption in Europe. The chemical industry represents 5% of this. So a fifth of the industrial consumption is for the chemical industry. And another interesting fact is that regarding the chloralkali companies, although we are a very small part of the chemical industry, we represent more than 0.7% of the electricity consumed and produced in Europe. So really, electricity is a very important issue for the chloralkali business. As I talked to you before, we are energy-intensive industries. We are recognized as such by the European Commission. We are also considered very important sectors for the European economy. And also, of course, being such a big consumer and having such an importance, we are always on the focus when regarding the new regulation implementation. So every time we are talking about energy and energy reductions, we are talking about how will this impact the energy intensive industries. And if we look a little bit down to one of our businesses, which is chloralkali, you can see that energy is not only important, but it represents more than 50% of the variable cost of production. So this has a huge impact on our competitiveness. And we are very concerned about the impact of these new legislations on our business. And what are these regulations we are talking about? As you know, there is the new 455 package being discussed in the European Union. There are a lot of directives that are under review, and I will focus on 4 different directives that I believe will have a big impact, and we believe that it will have a big impact on our future business. The first one is the emission trading scheme directive. We already have an ambitious goal for this to reduce the carbon emissions of our sector, but this will increase even further. So we had a target of 42% reduction compared to 1990. We are going to have it by 2030, a 61% reduction of the energy emissions. This is a huge transformation. Also, every benchmark and every target for linear reduction will be increased as well. So the industry will have to have an effort to reduce even further the emissions it has on its production. So this is really something that's changing and something that is concerning, because we really need to go further on our emission reduction. The second directive I would like to talk to you about is the Energy Efficiency Directive. As you know, we are trying, and the European is pushing towards the reduction of final energy consumption in Europe, which is kind of difficult because we are increasing, and the perspectives are to be increasing the energy consumption in Europe. But there are targets to reduce this energy consumption through targets of energy efficiency that will be increased. There will be targets and schemes, or mandatory schemes, that will be applied also. So industry will have mandatory obligations, amongst them the energy management systems adoptions, and also energy audits will be mandatory as well. So the industry will really have to focus on energy efficiency by these regulations, which is not as much nowadays. The fourth one is the Renewable Energy Directive, which obliges companies to have an incorporation of renewables in their production. So what is happening is that each member states have goals to increase the share of renewables in their energy consumption, and for the first time we are now going to have industry goals. So industry will have to have an increased share of renewables per annum, an increase of 1% of incorporation of renewable energy per annum, which will be a challenge. And also, they are trying to increase the share of renewable fuels someone uses. And from renewable fuels, we are talking about hydrogen, we are talking about synthetic methane or biofuels. And what the Energy Commission is trying to push is that every renewable fuel, every fuel that we have, 50% of it must come from renewable sources. This means that if you are a hydrogen consumer, 50% of the hydrogen you have to consume has to be green. And these are mandatory goals. They are also going to increase the legislations on PPAs and guarantees of origin and try to clarify what are these mechanisms. Last but not least, we have the Energy Taxation Directive. We are a heavy industry. Usually heavy industry in Europe have exemptions on the energy taxation. And this new directive and this new revision will take the exemptions off. So really, we are going to have to pay a minimum energy taxation for most sectors. The exceptions are very, very minimum. And also the way the taxation is calculated will be more based on the emissions of these fuels than on the current ways they are calculated. So really, this is something that can change the way we compete worldwide. This is something that's for the European companies will create a level playing field, but this will change the way we compete with our competitors abroad. So we have a new regulations. This is very challenging. And how do you see this challenge and these worries we have? So what we have is three challenges. You can divide this into three challenges. One, we have to become climate neutral by 2030, 2050. This is not still, the final date is not yet defined, but we have to become climate neutral. We must guarantee that we have access to energy at a stable and affordable way. We cannot, as a chemical industry, allow ourselves not to have the energy when we need it. So we have to have a constant flow of energy. This will be a big challenge because renewable energy is not constant in production. And also we have to assure we maintain competitive and our products remain competitive to sell abroad. So really this is a very, very different challenges that sometimes are conflictual, because if you want to have more energy and a more stable renewable energy source, you may not have the competitiveness you want. So really this is something that is very difficult to mix. Beginning with the first one, to become climate neutral, we can do this by integrating renewable production in our consumption. This means that we have to try to find solutions for self-consumption, to use demand response to match the offer of energy with the consumption we need, and we need to develop storage solutions. And by storage solutions, it's not just energy solutions, energy storage directly solutions, it's some other solutions like hydrogen storage, like power to X, by storing in electrochemical products. We have to find ways to storage the energy and produce when the cost is low and the energy is available, to supply our clients with the regularity they need. We also have to take advantage of the existing mechanisms of PPAs and guarantees of origin. So we really have to start putting these mechanisms in place. And we have to work on innovation, as always. We have to work on innovation, we have to design new products, we have to do full switching, we have to do circularity, you have to increase the energy efficiency, you have to electrify your processes so that you can switch fuels from carbon fuels to greener fuels. So this is the way we think we will move forward to a climate neutral industry. Regarding the access to abundant and affordable and stable energy supply, this is very, very challenging. How can you guarantee that the sun is always shining and the wind is always blowing and we have the energy all the time we need? This is very difficult. This is not possible. So we have to mitigate this risk. And how can we do this? First, by diversifying the portfolio of our energy supply, meaning I have to have energy coming from solar plants and wind plants. And if I really want something more stable, maybe I will go to a biomass to have the base load of the consumption. So really I have to do this search of several sources of energy to understand how can I better and guarantee my supply of energy. We have also to have diverse locally. We have to spread our plants worldwide or locally wide. I cannot have all my plants on the same spot, because this is really risky. Because if you have a solar plant all in the same spot, if the clouds pass, I stop having energy. If I have it dispersed in several places, the probability of having less energy at the same time, or of having problems on all plants at the same time, is less. So I have a less risk of having shortage of energy supply. And we also have to find ways to have backup energy, clean backup energy. We cannot think that we will survive only on renewables, locally produced energy, because we cannot stop. We work 7 hours, 7 365 days a year. We really need to have a guarantee of energy supply. So we need to have backups using the electric grid as a backup. And so we need better grids. We need better interconnections to be able to get energy from Central Europe and from other places in the world where where the wind is blowing and where energy is abundant and available, so that if our local production is affected, we can always have a backup from other places and the energy reaches us. This is very important, and this is something that most countries are not taking into account as much as we think it would be. We also have to do a thing that's very, very important, which is demand-side response. What we really need to do is change the way we think about our production scheduling. We now decide what we want to produce, and then we try to find the energy, and we expect the energy to arrive to our plants. What we really need to do now is to think on the other way around. When do I have the energy? If I have the energy, I will produce. So the production will be dependent not only on the market, but on the energy that is available. And doing this, we can easily use more renewable and have cheaper energy for our products. We can do this by changing the loads on our plants, or even using digital tools and implementing demand-side response mechanisms. Last but not least, and very, very, very important, to assure our industrial competitiveness, we need energy, we need lots of energy, but we need it at a competitive cost. So we need to find solutions to have the cheaper energy possible. And this is not a one-way solution. Every place has its own solution. We have to find where the wind is blowing hardest, where the sun is shining, and put our plants there. We have to take advantage of the competitiveness that the industry of the technology is having with the decrease of production costs. Everyone knows that the solar costs are reducing. The storage is also developing very fast, and we will have lower costs in the future, so we have to take this into account. We have also PPAs that we can do. We have to understand how to finance these things. Is it better for us to invest ourselves in energy production, or should we do partnerships? What is the best way that a chemical company can act to be competitive and guarantee their energy? This is very important, and this is really a groundbreaking issue for the businesses. And also adapting our profiles, I've already said that. And there is another thing that's very important, is we have to advocate our position with the governments, with the European Commission. Really, we have to make them understand that industrial policies must be put in place to sustain the electro-intensive industries in Europe. We have to make them understand that we need an integrated market with integrated prices, with harmonized regulated costs. We cannot have Spain, Portugal, and France having different regulated costs, because this is not the same level playing field. We are changing the way companies do business and their profitability just because regulated costs are different. And we have to have energy policies that are common to everyone. And we need to make them understand that we compete with other countries which are not in the European Union and that are not on the same rules. We have to make them understand that if they want the industry to remain in Europe, they really have to push forward innovative and industrial policies. Last but not least, we have to take advantage of the new market solutions for demand-side response. We have to participate actively in all mechanisms of balancing the grid. These mechanisms usually give remuneration, the right remuneration to the industry, And by doing that, we can do two things. First of all, guarantee the stabilization of the systems, of the energy system, which is very important. And second, we can earn some money doing this. So the industry must participate on these mechanisms, just as do the energy producers, to be able to compete with better prices. This is done through the well-known interruptibility mechanisms, where we guarantee the security of supply, but this can also be done with capacity and replacement reserve mechanisms and every other mechanisms that the grids and the TSOs may put in place. So I give you these few words of the challenges we have ahead. I'm ready to answer to any questions if you have, and I appreciate very much your attention for this presentation. Thank you. I don't know if anyone has a question.
Hola Teresa, gracias por tu presentación. Me gustaría cuestionar, dadas las diferencias que tenemos visto en el mercado español en las tarifas de la energía, si tienes alguna sensibilidad para cómo va a evolucionar hasta el final del año, el próximo año, y también la Iberia, cuando contrasta con el resto de la Europa, ¿cómo lo vemos en las renovables? ¿Tenemos un mix mejor? ¿Cómo va a evolucionar? ¿Cómo lo ves? Gracias.
Tenemos dos cuestiones ahí. Primero es el mercado. Si me estás hablando del mercado, el mercado grosista en Iberia es común a Portugal y España. Está ahora con picos muy grandes de costes de electricidad que nunca han sido vistos. Esta es una situación que nosotros pensamos que es conjuntural y que va a terminar en el futuro. En el próximo año, después de abril, cuando la temperatura comienza a subir, las necesidades de gas van a bajar y vamos a tener mejores precios de electricidad. Esto es lo que el mercado nos dice y es conocido. Después tenéis las cuestiones de los costes regulados. Y ahí España está mejor que Portugal en esta cuestión, tiene menores costes regulados, pero está muy peor que otros países en Francia, Alemania. Las políticas industriales de Alemania y Francia son muy buenas para los consumidores industriales, en España es menos y en Portugal muy menores las preocupaciones. Por eso vamos a tener dificultades en cuanto a Europa, si continuamos el camino que viene a ser tomado, a competir con los mercados de Europa Central. Cuando empezamos a olhar para las renovables, hay un cambio en la competitividad, porque Portugal y España tienen mucho recurso de solar y de viento que nos van a permitir ser más competitivos en la producción de renovables. Y lo que se dice es que Portugal y España van a estar en una posición primera de competitividad frente a Europa y vamos a ganar competitividad. Pero si pones en cuenta los costes regulados de esta competitividad, ninguém lo sabe muy bien cómo va a salir.
Yo tengo un par de comentarios y una pregunta, Teresa. Primero, enhorabuena por la presentación, creo que está muy bien planteada, especialmente viniendo de una empresa muy intensiva en consumo eléctrico. Por tanto, el challenge es realmente grande, especialmente en estos días en donde la electricidad está llegando a unos precios que nunca habíamos imaginado. Nunca habíamos imaginado porque nunca habíamos pensado que lo que está ocurriendo es lo más lógico que puede ocurrir. Porque teniendo un sistema de precios que acaba poniendo el precio final al precio más caro, es evidente que tenía que pasar esto, especialmente con los precios de CO2, que cuando implantamos los precios de CO2 estábamos pensando en precios de 30 euros la tonelada y ahora están a 60 y con posibilidades de subir más, con lo cual, pues bueno, estamos en la situación peor que podíamos estar. Y nadie, desde el punto de vista político, ha pensado que este sistema es absolutamente obsoleto y que solo puede ir a peor, porque en cuanto nosotros estemos más y más implantando las energías renovables, siempre necesitaremos un backup de gas, siempre. Por tanto, si no cambian el sistema, y yo creo que desde el sector industrial tenemos que hacer mucho hincapié, es que este sistema es absolutamente obsoleto y hay que cambiarlo. No hay ningún mercado que se rija por el precio más elevado de lo que hay en el mercado. Es absolutamente absurdo y además va al extremo más absurdo. Por tanto, creo que la industria tiene que ser muy vocal y tiene que hacer mucho ruido a este respecto. No tiene ningún sentido, no tiene ningún sentido. Es maravilloso ver a Bondalti aquí en Barcelona, en la Expoquimia, una empresa importante portuguesa con mucha vocación de ibérica, enhorabuena. Y lo que quisiera como pregunta es, Teresa, decirte, claro, esta presentación no se prepara si no hay una cultura de progreso, de lucha contra el cambio climático, y por tanto quería preguntarte qué porcentaje de actividad tú crees que en Bondalti tenéis para haber fijado estos objetivos de sostenibilidad tan agresivos como los que habéis hecho.
Nosotros estamos trabajando todos los días para tener 100% de energía renovable. Estamos ahora en una situación que creemos que fácilmente vamos a llegar a 50% de energía en corto plazo, de energía verde consumida, y queremos llegar a los 30%, o 100% en 2030. Es eso que estamos trabajando, estamos ambicionando esto, tenemos proyectos en marcha y creemos que vamos a conseguir. Es para eso que trabajamos todos los días. ¿Más alguna pregunta? No. Muchas gracias.